The Volvo. Well, I have to say I'm very impressed with this vehicle. I can only find one major thing wrong with it, and that is the fact that it's front wheel drive. The reason why that is an issue to me is because it seems to affect the steering so much when you're accelerating. As you begin to pull away, if you are making adjustments to the steering wheel, which is obviously going to vary under circumstances, it pulls on the steering and it dictates on the steering. And with the steering being so light, I could see it sometimes that becoming actually quite a danger to driving. The reason, what I'm trying to say basically, is as you accelerate, if you have the wheels turned, the car attempts to straighten them out through the force that is being applied. For example, now I'm now turning left. Return. Now as I accelerate, it's pulling, it's making it reflexive. It's like you're driving and somebody else is tugging on the steering in the opposite direction. My word, you know, it's dreadful. And being such a light steering as well, I think that could catch a couple of people out in certain circumstances. Thinking about buying one of these vehicles, take it for a test drive, you're going to see exactly what I mean. I think it's a bit of an issue. I'm not a fan of front wheel drive, but the reason why I bring that up is because it seems to me the more powerful an engine with front wheel drive, the more you get this reflexive steering, this counter effecting going on, and it's a problem for me. So be aware of that when you take it for a test drive. Now, this is a dry condition, so in the wet conditions, you know, you're going to see other phenomena too, like understeering and the tyres spinning. Remember, the tyre spins, you're going to have to replace it more often. Now, that's really the only negative I can find with this vehicle. Everything else seems to be absolutely perfect. The drive quality is immensely beautiful. It's serene, it's calm, it's actually dignified. The engine pulls nicely. It's not an oversized engine, but it's not undersized too, but it's borderline. It would be nice to have something like a 2.8 in this at least. Now the car is quite well balanced considering the length of it. It's got a bit of a swerve there, but nothing too serious, not too much of a bounce. The instrument cluster is very easy to read, it's very clear, and there is no obstruction from any of the steering wheel at all. It's probably one of the best layouts I've seen in a while. Center console is a little bit congested, there's a lot of information going on there. Travelling down a motorway at 70 miles an hour, you're not going to be really wanting to sort of decipher everything that's going on there. The side mirrors on this vehicle are enormous. That's always a plus sign in a car. Plenty of vision. And the rear view vision is not that great because a lot of it is obstructed by the headrest in the back. You know, this is quite an annoying attribute to many vehicles. I don't quite see why car manufacturers can't create back seats where the headrests disappear when no one's sitting in them. I mean, at the end of the day, if no one's sitting in the back seat and the headrests are up, surely they could just recline into a cavity or something. The more vision you get, obviously the better it's going to be. This is a 5-speed manual, and I have to say it's a very enjoyable car to drive. It's I wouldn't describe it as a lethargic car, and I wouldn't describe it as an enthusiast car. It's somewhere in the middle of the Alpha and the Omega. It is very relaxing to drive, maybe a little bit noisy going over bumps and stuff like that. It does feel a bit hard when you go over lumps in the road. It's almost got that low profile tyre feeling to it, but it's such an ease to drive. It's equally as easy to drive this vehicle as a lot of Mercedes. I could quite easily drive this many hundreds of miles. It's very relaxing, very soothing, and if I had the opportunity to make this car perfect, this is what I would do. First of all, I would make it a rear wheel drive, and secondly, I'd put something under the bonnet that was a lot more responsive. You know, maybe a 2.83 litre up. The reason being, it's a big car. Big cars should have big engines, and this front wheel drive business, it just doesn't work. But if I had to give this car a score out of 10, it would have to be pretty high, because it is very well put together. If anything, there's probably a danger of it being a little bit boring, but it is a Volvo, so you kind of get to expect that. But it's nicely put together, it's very sleek, it's a great driving package, and anyone taking one of these for a test drive, I think, will be very pleasantly surprised.